Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil and Nick Padone. Don't worry, Chris has got a whole Diet Mountain Dew in a big gulp today, switching it up on us.
I know, it's different.
Got a big gulp. I'm back from Tennessee now. Went down to Gatlinburg with the fam. Went down to Dollywood. Never done Dollywood before.
All right.
I would suggest staying up here, going to Cedar Point, or if you go that far south, go just to Kings Island. Don't even have to leave Ohio. But I went all the way down to Dollywood, did the whole experience, got really sick.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that you got sick.
Yeah, fortunately, Dolly also has some great cinnamon bread, and without that basically saved my life.
Oh.
Because if I wouldn't have had that cinnamon bread, I don't think I'd be here right now because I was back at the room. It was not very good. Kind of went through the family, but you know, Dollywood was fun. It was what you would expect, but in terms of the roller coasters, the action for the kids, stay up here, go to Cedar Point, stay up here for Kings Island. Don't go all the way down south for Dollywood.
For sure. Yeah, Cedar Point's where it's at. I think everybody knew.
Yeah.
How did you guys choose that for vacation?
We kind of move around. You know, we've done the beach thing for a while. We've gone up to Michigan. We've kind of moved around the Midwest a little bit. And everybody wanted to do Gatlinburg, which is kind of the Myrtle Beach of Tennessee, which doesn't necessarily appeal to me at all, but that's where we ended up. And it was fun. We had a good week.
The Guardians offense.
Very touristy.
What would you say would be your GOAT, your greatest of all time vacation spot is where?
You know, I like Hilton Head.
Okay.
Always liked Hilton Head. The first time I was there, I got a hole-in-one at Harbortown. So you can't really beat that. That was back in college, so that's going to stick with me the rest of my life. So love Hilton Head.
Yeah, and it's great for golf. It's great for tennis. It's great to just be outside out there in Hilton Head for sure.
The Guardians offense was also on vacation the last two days, but you know, we're hoping to bounce back. It was a fun, packed weekend at the ballpark. I will say that. It's really cool to be getting sellouts again, you guys. It's really nice. So if you haven't been at the ballpark, come on down. We got a stellar team right now. The other thing I want to do, guys, I know you're roasting me for this. They're giving me a hard time about this. I want to do a shout out. Okay?
All right. Yeah. Shout out time.
And I know it's not a paid advertiser, but you know what? We got to give a shout out to Parma Car Care just really quick for Fred and Jim because they helped my sister out in a pinch. Okay. And you guys know my sister. This is one of her regulars at the restaurant. And Bree's in her loft in year of sobriety, okay? She's been sober. She's coming up on year 8.
That's awesome.
And anyway, this was one of her first big purchases.
You call it a loft in year?
Yeah, we're calling it her loft in year.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, of course.
One of her first big purchases, turning her whole life around, literally, was buying this car. It's nothing fancy, but, you know, it's had its issues. Something with the starter was dead. She had to get it towed. But anyway, they took the day off, but they actually, or they were closed, but they got her in and they helped her out. So I just want to give a shout out to Fred because these guys, they're like family and I love that they had her back like that. And he said, you know, happy sobriety to her. So I thought it was sweet. So I just want to give them a nice shout out while we're on the show.
And obviously we love Bree. She's fed us up here a number of times. In a pinch, she has all brought food up here and taken care of the whole Big Play fam.
She is the snacks queen. This woman is always thinking of others. So
and medicine. I think she's plugged Tylenol a couple times. She's always on top of it.
The classic mom. We call her the mom of the group.
Yeah,
but
big time.
That's a nice shout out. And Fred, the first one's free. Next one you got to pay.
Listen, we want to collect that cash, Fred. No, thank you guys for letting me do that. What else, sports wise? We're gonna get into our garage beer interview coming up. Anything else we want to add here before we take?
Well,
we
had a big major over the weekend.
Oh,
we had the British Open. Xander Schauffele ends up winning that thing, his second major of the year, his second major of his career. So
second major in 3 months.
That's right. He comes into this year looking for his first and now has 2. Just a fantastic round from him. It was kind of wild watching the Sunday action yesterday because everybody else really wasn't doing anything, was kind of stuck in neutral, and he continued to just birdie on the back nine. Everybody was saying it was kind of boring, but he was playing some pretty darn good golf, you know, while everybody else was really not doing a whole lot. So made for a fun Sunday. I enjoyed watching that. Certainly a lot better than watching the Guardians yesterday, as they didn't get any hits until a little bit later on in the game. And then I was listening to Tom Hamilton on the radio when Jose Ramirez hits that blast that I thought was going over the wall. Tom does a way back, and I almost pull off the road and hit a mailbox and it doesn't go over the wall.
How about Tom Hamilton was a lot of the reason why people were informed that the current president was stepping out of the
Yeah.
Tom Hamilton's breaking world news now on the broadcast anymore.
He's really
so.
adding to his resume
Yeah,
that's already so
yeah.
decorated.
He's got a deep repertoire, does Hammy now. Yeah. Deep bag. Evan Mobley also signed his 5-year
There we go.
rookie Supermax contract extension. Super cool to see.
Didn't have another option there, right? You had to make
Had to
that,
do it. That's
had
the
to
way
make
that
that
NBA
move.
works now. Yep, you gotta get him in here, and he is a key piece now with Donovan Mitchell as the Cavs look to move this thing forward.
Now, once again, we're saying this offseason, get in the weight room. We've been saying it every offseason. Now, get in that weight room. You can have a little bit more cash now to make that weight room a little bit nicer. Maybe spend some more time in there.
That's
I
what I'm
like
saying.
Donovan's tweet. He's like, I'm not paying for nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
and
way
I
to
mean,
go, brother.
A little bit more cash, and we're giving free shout outs. I mean, hey, we gotta get Evan Mobley to Swenson's, man. Get a galley boy in him, and it'll be all right. All right, cool. What do you guys say we step aside? We've got speaking of the Open and some fun things going on in the world of golf, we're bringing on one of the legends of this Bally Sports Network, Jimmy Hanlon, joining us on the Big Play Cleveland Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It is time for our Garage Beer featured interview. We've got in studio, you've a very familiar face here on Bally Sports, Jimmy Hanlon.
Especially during rain delays. Jimmy
Yeah,
Hanlon.
especially during rain delays. We were just giving him a hard time about it, but he is a PGA Golf Pro and the host of 18 Holes and Swing Clinic. So thanks, Jimmy, for coming in.
Yeah, first time in the Big Play studios, at least sitting in the chair and the throne, and glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Yeah, the Garage Beer throne. You're looking good. It feels comfortable for you.
Yeah.
The Open finished up yesterday. I know we were just talking about how cool his name is, Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
That's a cool name. And now that he's won his second consecutive major, how do you think he pulled it off?
He's just a solid player, right? I mean, we were talking a little bit off the air before. It was almost like it was boring, right? It was one of those things where he just hit solid golf shots all day long, didn't make any mistakes. I think he was bogey-free. I actually kind of turned it off at the end. Once I saw Scotty Scheffler pretty much duff it 50 yards in front of him on 18, and I'm like, okay, he was the only guy that was going to have a chance to catch him. But again, sometimes great golf is boring golf, right? Hit it in the fairway, hit it on the greens, beat everybody else. But I as we were talking before again off the air, I think the overall experience for the week at Troon, the weather was where we wanted it to be for a British Open. I think I tell people all the time, the Masters is about the greens and the history. The U.S. Open's about the golf course and the difficulty and how hard it can really be. And the Open Championship is really about the weather, right? If we have an Open Championship where it's sunny and nice, everybody's disappointed. We didn't get that this week. We got the bad rain weather, which brought what we wanted to see out of an Open Championship, and it was fun to watch.
Talk about that a little bit. Specifically on Saturday, you saw groups that got to play in decent weather that played pretty good, and then some groups that encountered that really bad weather there at Troon.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, poor Tiger's on a bad streak right now, right? You feel like he gets the bad weather run every time. Augusta, he was early, got the cold, then the weather stuck around for his. But that's just golf, right? You get that draw. Typically, if you're early Thursday, you're later Friday, or vice versa. And it's just a little bit of luck with the weather because, normally when weather comes in, it comes in and stays for a period of time and it's out. So you can get a bad or a good draw. But over there, you don't know what's coming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're over across the pond, you just have no idea. And Troon's north, right? I mean, you look on the map, and it's up there, right? And so they're going to catch bad weather. And I saw people out there in the ocean, right? It was like 63 degrees. Those people that's like warm to them. That's normal weather to them. They're out there swimming. But I thought it was good for the event, good for golf, and. Again, Xander Schauffele, now what we're looking at in the world of golf is, okay, who's going to win Player of the Year, right? You got Scotty Scheffler that won the Masters, and he's won 5 times besides that. And then you have, a guy that won 2 major championships. You could have a good argument either way, and you could probably spend a lot of time talking about it.
Yeah, Jimmy, where do you fall on that? Because it feels like nationally, the buzz is all about Scotty. The way that he started this season, if you will, was just so hot. I mean, he was the story, the arrest. We could talk about that in a little bit later. But like nationally, there was so much Scotty buzz. But now Xander's kind of working his way into that convo. If you had to pick one today, where do you fall on that?
I think I go with
rivalry?
the guy that won the 2 majors, right?
Yeah.
I really do. And I think part of that reason is, and I know people want to argue back and forth on this, but any other event is less 40 live guys that are some of the top players in the world. So if you're winning a regular PGA Tour event, or if you're winning a Players Championship, whether you like live or not, those guys aren't there. And if you're winning a major championship, you got all the best players in the world there playing. So to me, that even separates majors more than it did before. Because before, you know, even if you won the week after a major, there was a pretty good chance you had most of the top players in the world. That's different now in the world of golf. And that's what's changed over the last 2-3 years. And I know that in the numbers, it's not going to say anything like that. But when we're sitting here talking golf, you'd be remiss to not include that for sure.
What's going on with Rory McIlroy?
Yeah.
What isn't going on with Rory McIlroy, right? I mean, the dude got divorced, then he got undivorced,
Right.
then then he missed 2 3-footers that cost him the U.S. Open championship. I mean, if we could get in between here and here and get into here right now, you could probably find some interesting stuff. You know, I mean, listen, guys, and you guys know in your jobs, right? Add personal problems on top of what you're trying to accomplish in your career, and it makes it 3 times as hard. It's no different for a golfer, right? I mean, golfing is as mental of a game as you're ever going to see. And now you throw in, you know, hey, I'm leaving my wife. Hey, I'm not leaving my wife. Hey, I have a 3-year-old kid that I want to spend time. Whew, man, I mean, that's really it. And it's hard. And when you blow a tournament like he did at the Open Championship, he did it at Augusta years ago on the back 9. He shot 40. He had a 4-shot lead with 9 to play. And then also you look at like Jordan Spieth. I don't know if you guys remember at Augusta when he dunked it in the water. He never really recovered from that fully in his career. So the big question to me now is that, does Rory recover in 2025, or is this something that lingers for him? Is it something that's in his mind at all times? Oh my gosh, I can't close. I can't win. I can't get it done, at the right times. And so it's going to be, it'll be interesting. It'll be one of the storylines for 2025 for sure.
Given your experience, what do you think it takes to recover effectively or efficiently?
Well, I think number one, you got to get it right outside the golf course, right? Your mind has to be in a good place outside the golf course, and you have to be ready to prepare the right way. If you talk to a lot of people in the golf world right now, they would tell you that they think that Scottie Scheffler didn't make his mistakes this week at the Open Championship. They think that he did not go over and play the Scottish Open. The greens over there are significantly slower. There's prep work that needs to be done, and he showed up, on Monday or Tuesday and attempted to get ready for a different style of golf, a different type of golf. So that to me, that's a big deal. Well, Rory has all that too, right? He has to prepare off the golf course. He has to get his life right there. Then he has to come up with some kind of schedule and some kind of work thing that works within that. Because let's get real, something was going on at home, right? Something wasn't good. So we have to fix it at home first. Then we have to fix my routine on a daily basis to get me where I can win major championships. Then we have to go out and perform. So it's a big process.
It's interesting to hear that perspective, because it'd be so fascinating to do a poll of elite athletes, because there might be many out there who would argue that you've got to lock in on compartmentalizing, and maybe you can't solve everything at home, but you've got to show up when it matters regardless, it's just interesting to see. I'd be interested to see how many athletes, what their thoughts are on it.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw Full Swing on Netflix, which is an inside look at all these players, and you see what they deal with off the cuff. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Brooks Koepka went to live, right? Brooks Koepka was, if you watch that, was worried about whether he was ever going to win a tournament again the rest of his life, and they're putting $100 million in front of him. Yeah, I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, Brooks found his game, right? He can play golf again, and so that was just a small worry. But if you watched him at home, he was about the least confident athlete I had ever seen on Full Swing, right? He was like, oh man, like, I don't know if it's coming back or not, right? Like, what's happening? This is one of the best players in the history of the game, right? And so it affects your life. It affects your game. I think it's all sports. I think golf is but you're out there on an island by yourself in golf, and I think it's a hard one.
Talking all things golf with Jimmy Hamlin. Jimmy, before we go to break, we're going to bring it back, but we got to ask you, we're joking too about rain delays, and that your shows just dominated really my childhood of Cleveland baseball rain delays.
How young you are.
Yeah, that does make me feel old, right? That makes me feel
I know. When there's a rain delay, you know that you're gonna get some golf tips from Jimmy. Yeah. Is that something that you get a lot of people come up to you and talk to you about the rain delays and before, after Cleveland baseball games? I mean, you're it, man. You're on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I tell people I've been on the air longer than Friends. I'm 17 years in right now on Sports Time Ohio.
What did Al Pawlowski call?
Fox and now Bally's. Al Pawlowski called it the Jimmy Hanlon Network for a long time, right? But now you guys are in, so you give me a little break. You know, I get a little break now. So, it's been great, man. It's been a great run. You know, we started my programming. First show we ever did was called Tee It Up Ohio. And it was with Mike Cairns, and we traveled around Ohio and showed the best golf courses. And that was in 2000, I think 6 or 7. So it was just Indians games and me, right? And then they had an outdoor show by Darcy Egan. So then they had 3 programs, and it just grew after that, right? And to the point now where, you know, we got Big Play and we got everything going on. So it's been fun to be a part of that whole growth. Gabby and I have worked together back in the days too with that. And it's been – I've enjoyed myself, had a lot of fun. Cleveland people are great, man. I'm fortunate now. My shows are in 90 million homes all across the country, right? So it's fun to get out, but nothing's like Cleveland, right? You know, I go to a Guardians game or a Cavs game, and you know, and it's pretty fun. You know, people are screaming. I was at the Memorial one time, and there was a rain delay, and it was like 8 o'clock at night, and they were still playing because of the rain delay, and it was late. And you know, Friday night at the Memorial, there's a few garage beers been drank. You know. It actually turned a little bad because I was walking through the golf course and people were screaming at me across the holes, and guys are trying to play. You know, Ernie Els is backing off shots because guys are like, Jimmy Hanlon, tee it up, you know, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to be here right now, you know. So, but no, it's been great. Thanks for asking. But it's been I've had a fortunate run, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for sharing the waves with us.
Yeah, right. Up and down for sure.
Alrighty, we're gonna step aside. More with Jimmy Hanlon. Don't go anywhere. Big Play Cleveland continues right after this.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We're continuing our Garage Beer featured interview with Jimmy Hanlon. We were talking everything golf, U.S. Open, and actually we were talking a lot about Scotty Scheffler, too. Yeah. What were your thoughts when he got arrested at the PGA Championship?
That was nuts.
Insane, right? Yeah. I mean, Kentucky had to just like want to put their head under a pillow and hide after that happened, right? I mean, just an unfortunate incident. You know, listen, I came from a family of policemen. So believe me, you could obviously hear on the other side of it what could have happened, why it happened. But you know, he's kind of not really recovered from it completely, right? He doesn't seem to be himself 100% after that happened. Like he had a shot on 18 yesterday that I mean, I wouldn't expect an 18 handicapper to hit. He barely went 100 yards off the tee, and he seems to lose his focus a little more. But listen, he's a tremendous person. I mean, I've been around him enough to know that he reminds me of he's just like, golly, okay, let's just go on to the next thing, right? I mean, he's just a really good guy. The interesting thing for me moving forward in talking about Scotty and who somebody has to take the reins in golf, right? You need a villain, you need somebody that everybody loves. Obviously, Tiger and Phil are moving out of there. Scotty can definitely be one of those people. I think the Kentucky thing helped him a little bit, maybe. You know, people liked him even more after that, right? But what scares me a little bit for the game is I don't know that, like, Xander Schauffele is made for that, right? He's kind of here, right? And a lot of those guys are here. And you need some personality. Bryson DeChambeau is perfect. Went from being probably one of the most hated guys in golf to one of the most loved people in golf. He's doing it with the young people and YouTube. And I mean, my son's 16, and him and every one of his friends, Bryson is by far their favorite player right now. And if you'd have asked him 12 months ago, maybe not, right? Maybe not even know who he is, truthfully, you know? So we need that a little bit. It was unfortunate he didn't play very good this week, but golf needs somebody to kind of, they're not going to be Tiger, they're not going to be Phil, but to fill those holes a little bit. And I think Bryson and Scotty could be two of them for sure.
What does the future in golf look like right now with LIV and the PGA? How is that going to end up working out?
Well, I think there's two things. When you first said that, I'm like, just golf in general, and I'm like, well, dude, it's great right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
everybody's playing golf. COVID brought it back in. And I always tell people there's three things in my lifetime that made golf blow up. One, Tiger Woods. Can't question it, can't argue it, Tiger Woods. Two, COVID. As bad as COVID was, everybody started playing golf, right? Which was just awesome for the game. And we're still reaping the benefits. Our golf courses are packed. Try to get a tee time on a weekend in Cleveland right now. You have no chance unless you make it a week in advance. It's just awesome. To me, the third thing that's helped golf is when you guys go to your Instagram and you go to your TikTok, you're going to see Steph Curry, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, all these athletes, Travis Kelce, all these athletes, they all play golf.
Yep.
So when young people go on and they look at their TikTok and they see Travis Kelce playing golf, I want to play golf, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Golf's cool. Listen, when I'm 53, when I grew up, golf wasn't cool, right? I played quarterback in Steubenville and quit playing quarterback to play golf. I mean, I had death threats in my mailbox. Like it wasn't cool. Golf's cool now, right? Now the second question is live in the PGA. I don't think anybody really knows where it's going to go. There has to be some type of a merger. What you're going to see happening more and more now is those live guys that aren't getting those points, they're going to not be eligible to play in these majors. It's going to become a big problem when Dustin Johnson can't qualify and some of these guys that don't qualify. So they're going to have to figure out something. The one small thing that I think will happen is I personally think LIV will go to 72 holes next year, which will force them to have to give them points, world ranking points, which will allow them to get into major championships. I think that's a need and a must for LIV. I don't think they'll ever merge, but I think there'll be some crossing. I think they're going to make it easier for them to play both. You know, you have the potential to play both sides, but it's not going to happen in the next 12 months for sure.
How about in Paris? You excited about the Olympic golf at all?
Yeah, I think it's fun. You know, I think, Ricky Fowler came out the first time. He had the Olympic tattoo on his forearm. Again, how's Bryson DeChambeau not representing, the United States? I don't know. But, I think it's good for the growth of the game. It's good to be a part of something that, I saw, LeBron's going to carry the flag out and stuff. I think it's just all those guys get to meet everybody, right? I mean, listen, the golfers want to be a part of meeting Team USA in basketball and being a part of all the things that are going to go on the track and field. I think it's good for the game for sure. I don't know that it'll ever grow as big as some of the sports, but I definitely think it's good.
Jimmy, I got to ask you, one thing that kind of has ripped my heart out in golf recently is just the current state Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite athletes ever. I share a birthday with Tiger, so I've always kind of felt that like affinity with him.
Yeah.
It feels like
January, right? January 7th?
December 30.
Oh, December.
LeBron birthday as well. But man, it's starting to feel like it might be time for Mr. Woods to hang it up. What are your thoughts on all things current state Tiger?
Yeah, it's funny. I'll tell you. This is the fourth or fifth interview I've done since the end of the Open yesterday, and every single person asked this question. So that means it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that means it's on people's mind. So he's 2 years away from being able to play PGA Tour Champions, right? Which is great. Hopefully we see him at Firestone.
Would be awesome.
Yep.
We need that lift, right? I mean, the colleague people do a phenomenal job. The event is, I can't even tell you how good it is, right?
We were
How
just
good.
out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were broadcasting
awesome,
from there.
right?
It was a blast.
It was
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
But there's not enough people there, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nobody drawing these people into it, right? So we got to get more people there. Tiger will do that. Done, right? I mean, we don't need anything else. I don't care. Matt and Tim Klepper could spend $4 billion. They're not going to get people there like Tiger showing up, right?
Yeah.
It just is what it is. So, but I think that he's got 2 more years where he has to make a decision on, am I going to play the 4 majors, maybe 1 or 2 other tournaments, limp into the Champions Tour and go from there? Or do I just shut it down and then just play the Champions Tour, go watch Charlie, his son, play and do that? I really don't know what he'll do. Colin Montgomery probably didn't help because he told him that it's time to shut it down, and I don't think Tiger likes to be told what to do like any great athlete, so that probably made it more of like, I'm not shutting it down, right? I'm going to keep playing. But it is a lot like, in one of my interviews earlier, the guy said it would be like Akeem Olajuwon running down the court with ice packs on his knee, just trying to stay in the game, right? And I kind of agree with that, because Akeem Olajuwon, in his 20th year of basketball, could probably still get the ball in a post, make a move, and score on anybody in the NBA. Well, that's Tiger. When we watch him, right, he can hit a shot that you're like, oh my God, he's back. Guy's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Guy has all the shots still, right? he can't do it for 4 days, and his body can't handle walking and just really just being able to survive over a period of time. That's what hurts, right?
Yeah.
You can see Tiger hit these great shots, and you want him to be there, and then 2 holes later, you see him limping down the fairway. So I don't know what his answer is from that side of it, but I think he's gonna just kind of slowly ride off into the sunset, and then he'll catch the Champions Tour at 50.
All right, all things Jimmy Hanlon. It's been a lot of fun. I know you were super busy. All things Little Mountain.
Yeah.
We got a fun announcement in the works as well. Speaking of Little Mountain.
Yeah. You want me to say it?
Yeah,
All right.
you
You guys
go
are
for
the
it.
bosses.
Make the
but-
big announcement.
Oh,
here,
it's a big
Jimmy.
announcement. Hey, we have the Big Play Golf Tournament, right?
Yeah.
Make sure I get this date right. August 31st, right?
Yep.
Is that when it is? August 31st at Little Mountain. I know Garage Beer is a big part of it. It's going to be awesome. You know, I mean, I know you guys are going to put stuff out later on how to potentially play.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I know all you guys, all the Big Play people will be there. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, so I won't say it, but we've got a pretty big name.
Oh, yeah, you can
guest.
say it. You can say it.
Paige Sporanic's going to be there, which is way more important than me being there, right? You know, she's partners with Garage Beer. It's a huge thing. We're going to shoot, Rizzo and I are going to shoot an episode of Pin Shot, which is always fun. And
Hopefully he doesn't mow me down in the parking lot as well, but we'll see.
I would love to see you guys come do Pin Shot. Oh, man. Pin Shot is my favorite show that I've ever done. And listen, 18 holes, I get to go see the greatest golf resorts in the country, right?
Yeah.
Swing clinic, I get to do what I do, which is teach people how to play golf, right? Pin Shot, I get to stand there and make fun of people. Like, it's phenomenal. And I have Rizzo in my ear, and he's making fun of him way worse than I am. You guys can't hear it, but I
Way
can. and I'm
further
just
away from
dying.
you,
Yeah,
too.
way down on the green. And it's so much fun. You know, the show came from I know you were part of it. It really was established from beer money, right? So they're like, okay, we got beer money. Let's just do a golf show that way, right? So it's like to test the golfers, take your chance, keep going. And I can't tell you how much fun it is. And so with you guys being out there and getting the people on Pin Shot and shooting the episode and having Paige out there, Little Mountain's in the best condition it's been in 15 years probably, which is going to be fun.
And that's a gorgeous golf course. I love playing.
Yeah, it's really we've been, again, COVID has allowed us to reinvest the last 2-3 years, and you can really see the difference in how good the golf course is right now, which is a lot of fun. But you know, it's just going to be a good day, right? I think it's a Friday, right? It's on a Friday. It's just gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Should
for
be that
sure.
Saturday, right?
Is it Saturday or Saturday? No, you're right. Saturday.
Yeah, August 31st. Keep it locked. We'll have
Yeah.
details to follow of how to, register, potentially golf in this thing.
I'm sure
But-
they can still make a tee time on Friday if they want.
yeah.
Get in a practice
Get in
round.
a
for that
practice
Saturday.
round
That's
for
right.
Paige, the
Before
Cribs,
Paige
Jimmy
shows
Hanlon. That's
up.
a ton
Don't-
of pressure.
Cribs are gonna
Don't be
You know?
Scotty Scheffler.
That's a
Make sure
lot
you
of
get up there
pressure.
early,
Yeah.
make your tee times, get the practice round in.
Listen, I've been pushing Josh Cribbs to play golf. Like I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
keep giving him little shoves a little bit there. So I feel like it might be Pin Shot might be his debut right there.
There you go. Could be an opportunity at the
Love
Big
it.
Play
it'll be
outing.
fun.
Little Mountain, August 31st. Jimmy, thanks so much for popping in.
Yep.
We have more of the Big Play Cleveland Show. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We were just chatting all things golf with Jimmy Hanlon, which is super awesome. And we're actually bringing in Jensen Lewis on the golf course. He's playing in the Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame golf outing today. So this kind of works in perfectly with all our golf talk. But we are going to segue with a little baseball here. Well, first of all, how is your golf game, Jensen?
Well, thanks, guys. Great to be back with you, and awesome cause out here. As always, getting to see some of the legends of Cleveland sports and some of the inductees from last year's event. So great to be out here at Kirtland Country Club. And the golf game, so we're in a good spot, I think. Always room for improvement. I'm sure Jimmy Hanlon can tell you. He's had to give me a few lessons a time or two. But all in all, the scramble format is my ideal format, just in case things go awry here or there.
For sure. Jensen, appreciate you joining us from the course. Hey, there's been so much chatter, and we've talked about it on our show at length about what the Guardians might do, what they might not do at the MLB trade deadline. Now that they've kind of stumbled into the All-Star break and then struggled to find their footing, do you think that might change their approach as this deadline nears?
Well, I think, Nick, it kind of goes still with what I've spoken with you guys about the last few weeks to the last month. It starts with the starting rotation and, really understanding that as you look around just the American League and the potential opponents that the Guardians might have in the postseason, you've got to be able to find, if not frontline starting pitching, as close to it as possible that possesses swing and miss capability, that has got a good track record against some of those teams, not only this year, but the last couple of years. So, yeah, I don't think the priority has changed. Maybe more now that you've seen the offense struggle the last 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a reinforcement offensively, and maybe two. But I think it remains that this rotation is the priority at the trade deadline.
Jensen, I think I saw a stat that 5 of the last 7 games, the Guardians' offense has scored either 0 or 1 run so far. What's your assessment of that? Is this just a normal funk you go through in the middle of the season? We shouldn't worry about it? Or is this going to be a longer-term trend that is causing you some concern?
Yeah, Chris, I think it's a regression. And again, I think I've spoken about it where you look at the torrid pace they were on in April and May, and the sustainability of that, I think, would have been a lot to ask through the end of the first half, even through, the entirety of June. But this happens to every ball club. It's just a matter of when you go through it. And I think ideally, if it was going to happen, you certainly wanted it to happen now, at least the last weeks going into the end of the first half. And, again, when you look at San Diego this past weekend, that's as good a 1-2 punch as they've faced in a while with Cease and Michael King. You get Tarek Skubal at the beginning of the week, and then also understanding where you're going to be with Philadelphia coming up over the weekend. So it feels like when the offense struggles, and this is with any team, you end up facing really outstanding pitching. So it feels like the end is not near. But I think that's just kind of the portion of the season you're in. There was going to be some regression, but I think they'll come out of it.
One bright spot has been Angel Martinez. What do you think about him? Could he be a long-term option?
Yeah, Gab, what a surprise for him, just really fitting seamlessly into that number 2 spot. That's hard for a young hitter to do. We've seen that not only the last year or two guys come up, make a splash, and then all of a sudden the league has caught up to him. But I think he's so dynamic, and he's got so many different things offensively that really fit with Stephen Kwan as a good 1-2 punch to get that lineup rolling. And then the defensive versatility too. This is one of the most pleasant surprises, I think, from the minor league development. And for a guy that in his first couple of weeks, it feels like he's been here a while, that's a huge boost to this offense and really the entire team overall.
He's got the look too, man. He's got the swag, the chains. He just looks like he fits the part, and he looks like he's a guy that's been around for a long time. So definitely excited about Mr. Martinez moving forward. Hey, another guy that Guardians fans were excited about, but it feels like we might be starting to see him a little bit less and less, is our boy Big Christmas. Why aren't we seeing more John Kenzie Noel in these last few games here? And could that be a trend that continues moving forward?
Yeah, Nick, if I'm kind of reading the tea leaves of how Stephen Vogt wants to get through some of those young players, and remember, it's been a bit of a rotation now with Tyler Freeman. Will Brennan had the injury. He's coming back now, trying to figure out where Daniel Schneemann and Brian Rocchio make the most sense on getting day-to-day reps. So I think it's a continual ballet of how you integrate these young players. And, again, when the offense is struggling here like it is, it'll take maybe 2-3 games in a row of a Big Christmas and a Jhonkensy Noel having a hell of a series to find himself in an everyday role. These are opportunities right now. If you're a young player realizing the struggles of the entirety of the lineup, go for it. Show this group that you can handle the everyday role and never let it go.
So looking at the Guardian schedule here, we kind of got a Tigers, Phillies, then Tigers, kind of a sandwich going on there. What do you make of those teams? The Tigers here coming into town and then facing the Phillies over the weekend. Give us your assessment of those two teams.
Yeah, again, Chris, it's a weird scheduling quirk where you're going to basically get your Detroit series as far as the season goes out of the way in 3.5 weeks. But that Philly series, it is always a tough place to play. That's one of the most electric atmospheres in big league baseball at Citizens Bank Park. And you're going to get a weekend series. You're going to get great starting pitching again from Philly's side. It's as good a lineup as you'll face and as deep a lineup as you'll face in big league baseball. So a great challenge for our guys. And then you kind of talked about it. You get that weird 2-game set with Detroit to finish it off. And then no rest for the weary, guys. Arizona and then Baltimore and then Minnesota. This is a hell of a start to the second half. Can't wait to see how they meet the challenge.
Jensen, any worries as a pitcher about Tanner Bybee's pitch count? He's only gone 7 innings 3 times this entire season. It feels like our Guardians are leaning so much on him to be that de facto ace in a world without Shane Bieber, in a world without Tristan McKenzie. Is there any worry that he's thrown a lot of baseballs and the season is still relatively young here as we jump into the second half?
Nick, I'm not as worried about the pitch count. I think for me, it's the stress of the innings, and that just varies start to start. I think there's a long-term view here too. And Stephen Vogt, to this coaching staff, this front office, realized that if Cleveland wants to go where I think they believe internally they think they can, then Tanner Bybee has to be healthy and being a productive member of this rotation. You look at aces and certain spots where you may give them the extra out opportunity, you may extend them another inning. It's a start-by-start basis. I think they've managed him quite well. And for me, I think they have a more long-term view. They want to get him not only through the end of this regular season, but when you want to lean on him the most, you want him to be rested and ready for October.
For sure. All things Guardians with Jensen Lewis. Jensen, one more before we let you go. You know, we tape this show every single Monday. We're bringing the heat with Jensen every single Monday on the show. If you had to guess, this time next week, could we be recapping a Guardians trade, or are we still going to be anticipating a move to come?
Yeah, I think we go right up to the 11th hour, guys, but make no mistake about it. This front office is going to make a move. I think they have to make a significant one for this group to be able to not only lock up a top 2 seed, but to be able to advance in October. Let's hope it's channeling the 2016 deadline when Andrew Miller came in here, and it changed the face of that postseason, no doubt about it.
Jensen, thank you so much. Hit him straight out there, brother, and we'll do it again next week.
Fairways and greens.
You got it, guys. Absolutely. Talk soon.
Alrighty, we got to step aside. We're hitting you guys with some fill in the blank. Don't go anywhere. More of the Big Play Cleveland Show right after this.
All right, welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We'll do a little bit of our fill in the blank here. The one move the Guardians have to make is
a starting pitcher. I don't think that's any mystery to anyone. I think we need to have that starting pitcher, somebody to help solidify this rotation. We really need 2, to be honest with you, if we're going to get anything done. But at this point, I would be happy if we at least got somebody who is going to be able to take some of the heat off the rest of this starting rotation and be able to pitch some quality innings come playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope, Chris, they're not going to use this slide heading into the All-Star break and then this couple weird games as an excuse to not make a move. I mean, this is a team that right now is still in first place in the American League Central Division. There's no excuse to not only make the playoffs, but host a playoff series here at the corner of Carnegie, Ontario. It doesn't need to be an ace, but go find another Ben Lively. Go find another player that can contribute in the postseason. Please go find a starting pitcher.
Well, there's also an implied deal here where the ownership of this organization has said, hey, you guys show up and we're going to put a winner on the field. Gab, we've been showing up, right?
We have.
You just went through a weekend where everybody was packing the house. This summer has been fantastic down there at the corner of Carnegie and Ontario. Everybody is showing up. So now it is on ownership to go out there, bring in somebody or maybe multiple somebodies who are going to bring this team to the next level come playoffs, Nick. That's what we're expecting out of this ownership group. And, oh, by the way, I expect them to actually deliver in this case. I think they will. I think they see the packed house. They've made the investment in the stadium in the offseason. They've made those type of investments to bring people here. They see that they're coming. I hope that we make those corresponding moves.
Garrett Crochet is still out there. Yeah. I'm just saying that'd be a lot of fun. I get that it would cost a lot, but when you're looking at young pitchers that could make an impact this year and beyond, he is definitely going to be the name on the top of many shopping lists, including the likes of the Dodgers, the Orioles, teams that are a little bit more confident in spending. The Guardians are going to have to put their big boy pants on if they want to compete with some of these guys.
Okay, the Browns report to camp this week. I'm most excited to see blank this preseason.
You know, a lot of the focus is going to be on individual players, but overall, I want to see what Ken Dorsey does with this offense because I think I've talked about it before. We're going to see a transition this season. Nick Chubb's going to be coming back on the field at some point, but the focus is going to be less on Nick Chubb and more on the passing game this season. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson can get back into form. I'm going to be very interested to see what he does, but I want to see how Ken Dorsey deals with the mix of this offense. You know, you got David Njoku out there. Amari Cooper, hopefully we don't see a big holdout from him and we do see him in camp. Guys like that are going to be brought into the fold in a big way, and we're going to expect this offense to be a 2024, 2025 NFL offense where you're passing the ball a lot, and that's what Kenny Dorsey is charged with, and that's what I expect to see and get developed here in training camp.
And the biggest piece out of all of that, Chris, that you just said beautifully, is Deshaun Watson. Is Deshaun Watson going to be 100% ready to go for training camp? No excuses, no nonsense. We heard on Monday Joe Burrow, who's coming back from an unprecedented weird injury of his own, is 100% clear. Going to be a full participant every day in Bengals training camp coming off that hand injury. I'm expecting the same for Deshaun Watson. The Browns need him to be readily available this season if they want to get to where they want to go. That all starts in training camp, working chemistry with Jerry Jeudy and some of these newer players in Ken Dorsey's new offense. We need Deshaun to be available, and that all starts in training camp.
Out of all the Cleveland athletes, I love this one because I have someone in mind. Blank would be the best presidential candidate.
Oh, gosh, I missed this question before. I'm going to pass to you on this one, Nick. Do you have a good one off the top of your head?
Are we going out of all Cleveland athletes of all time?
Like current and
Oh, that's a
former?
good
Current
question.
and former?
Oh, yeah. All right, up to you.
If we're going former, if we're going out of all Cleveland athletes, I think LeBron James would be a good presidential
Really?
candidate. I think
Okay.
he has the leadership traits necessary. I know a lot of people.
It's going to be very partisan right off the bat.
It's going to
There's
be
no doubt
very
about that.
partisan. There's going to be a lot of people that disagree with a lot of his ideologies, but I think someone that just has the the personality and the forward leadership.
Gab's got her
Nope.
person. In
Tristan
mind.
McKenzie.
Really?
Okay, so
Yeah.
Gab's going current.
Current.
I like
yeah,
it.
Tristan, I think he's already a man of the people. He's got his values straight. He's humble. He's a leader. And I'm going Tristan McKenzie.
See, but the American people anymore, we don't want a humble leader. It's
I do.
very
That's
true.
why I went with
If that's
LeBron.
something you've
Yep.
learned is you don't
Yep.
want that. You want somebody who would put their face on a pendant of themselves and wear it around. Jose
Exactly.
Ramirez for president.
Exactly.
That would be the best presidential candidate from Cleveland right there.
Okay.
I can't believe
he would
none of-
unify. He's got a unifying feel at least
That's
here in
right.
Cleveland. So maybe that permeates throughout the nation.
And I can't believe the most obvious one, and none of us have said it, Nick Chubb. This is a nation.
He's not good at public speaking.
This
no
is
offense.
a nation divided
Not a man of many
right
words.
now. We see too much public speaking from our presidents at times. Maybe
Fair.
someone
Less
like
is
Nick
more.
Chubb.
Less is more.
more. We never hear from the guy. We know he works in silence. It's all good things when Nick Chubb is out there performing. He's got my vote for
All right.
president. All right, Ryan's
we got to
telling
wrap
us
up
we
this
got to
show.
break.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah, we got to step aside. More of Big Play Cleveland when we return.
Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We were just starting to get into a little debate about who would be the best Cleveland athlete to represent as the president.
Nick Chubb
Jose
is mine,
Ramirez
yeah.
for president.
Jose, Nick Chubb, Tristan McKenzie. Well,
Good
actually, you
stuff.
started on Team LeBron, but
I backed off that. We're already too divided. I think
We're
he would
already too divided. We
He
got
would
a lot of
only add
LeBron.
to that.
Blah, blah, blah.
We need Nick Chubb for president.
I think you're onto something with less is more. And
That's what I'm
not a man
saying,
of
man.
many
All
words,
all
actually.
these people just want to get up there and yap. I think that we're sick
More
of the
is
yapping.
more. Give me Jose Ramirez.
You know, to be fair, Hosey's not a huge yapper.
He's not a big yapper.
shower.
Yeah.
You know, so
He'd
he
be the
has
first
that
ever
Nick Chubb
president with a
quality going.
translator.
Yeah, that's true. When
It'd
he
be different.
saunters to the microphone, though, there's an air about him.
Yes.
There is that
Absolutely.
confidence, and that's what I want out of my president right
You
there.
need someone who would wear a chain of themselves. That's so funny. Okay, guys. All right. Since we were all playing this in the studio last week or whatever, what day was it? I'm losing track. I work the weekends. My favorite thing about college football 25 is
Yeah, my road to glory. Guys, I've got some personal news. I've transferred out of Texas Christian University.
TCU,
Wow.
My head coach was on some games. I'm out of there. I'm in the transfer portal. I'm looking for my next destination. So if you guys want to weigh in on where I should go next, I'm out of TCU, man, and I need
Okay.
somewhere else to go in this new video.
The
game.
Mac incoming. for
Maybe.
Nick
I'm a
Padone.
5-star man, though. I can't be messing around in the MAC.
Come on,
I'm a
now.
5-star.
Don't shade the Mac in this.
I'm trying to win a national championship here, Chris. College Football 25 has been a lot of fun. If you guys haven't checked it out, we're going to do some more like streams on the Big Play Network with it too. It's been really cool to get that tested and kind of take that to the next level. So a lot of
The
fun.
Amazon delivery guy dropped it off in my house yesterday. I got it for my son for his
George
birthday.
Niang?
I got a physical copy of the game. I don't know how many people even do that anymore. Don't you normally just
Yeah,
get a code?
digital
But I
code.
got the physical copy dropped off in my house yesterday. Has not been open. It will be on my son's birthday.
We got to wrap the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We'll see you next week.